after the 16th century, most of the houses were constructed in bricks. And the first house here on the left is extremely beautiful inside. I know that for a fact because that's the house of my father. And the second house here on the left is actually even more beautiful inside, and I know that for a fact because that's the house of my mother. So they're actually living apart together, but they do have a connecting door in case of emergencies, in which I was made. It was an emergency that only lasted for 4.5 minutes. This is actually the average of every European country. So I'm very sorry for the people from Great Britain on board, but you will actually lose 1 minute as you decided to leave the European Union. Very sorry about that. That's not true, actually. I was not made in 4.5 minutes. They took half an hour for it. Anyway, here behind the next bridge on the right hand side you've got the old hospital of St. John's, and there used to be hospitals on every road that came into Bruges, and actually you needed to visit the hospital prior of entry, and that was to verify if you didn't have any diseases like leprosy. They were quite afraid of leprosy at the time. Bruges were also extremely stupid because they put people with leprosy outside of Bruges near the water. That was a silly thing to do as the water flows all around Bruges. The thing that troubles my mind is that this hospital was actually operational until 1972. Now just before that I was born here. So I wonder until today if there's a correlation between those two events. These are the only traffic lights in the center of the city. Look here on the right, you see those two small houses there? They're called houses of God. In England these are called the alms houses. These were houses that were built by the rich for the poor, and the elderly, and the disabled people. And you would like to think that they did it out of charity. Sadly enough, they only did it because they were bloody afraid not to end up in paradise. Anyhow, have you noticed that each time we pass a bridge, it looks like it's getting smaller and smaller? You never know what you're gonna get, right? This bridge in particular is so small and low because in Belgium we do have a lot of politicians weighing very heavy on our lives. This is an art gallery for people who like cheap champagne and cheese. Welcome to my dungeon. I take my first dates here. I only get one date anyway. This is the most difficult maneuver we can make here. Not yet. I want you all to be very zen about this little stretch of water, and also I want you to inhale very deeply. It's not a yoga lesson, you will just smell the smell of beer. It's normal because this is a beer brewery. Now it's a bit my duty to warn you about Belgian beers. They're a bit stronger than what you're used to. Like for example here they make a beer and it's called the Straffe Hendrik Quadruple. If you drink 2 of those beers, you'll be in heaven. If you drink 4 of them, you will have forgotten the fact that you were in heaven. It's a bit like that. Now here on the right hand side, you've got the Beggins. the Beguines. The Beguines were not a religious order. They were extremely wealthy and rich women, and they refused to live with men. They were very intelligent women. They were the first feminists in the world, actually. But now, there is a Roman Catholic order living here, and they're called the Benedictines. The Benedictines have a bad habit. Pacing. So what I did was checking the mortality rate of seagulls in this area, and it looks like it's elevated a bit here. So. Now for the gentleman here on the left, behind this house is the Lake of the Lovers. So I invite you to kiss your girlfriend here, because this is the moment and place. It's an odd name though, the Lake of the Lovers, because a couple of 100 years ago this just was the dock of the port. But as Bruges became more and more romantic, we needed a Lake of the Lovers, so that's why it's now there. It's 1 meter higher over there. It's regulated by the house. So now I'm going to turn here to the left. While I'm turning to the left, have a look at the right, and you'll see that the water flows under the streets, but it also does flow under the houses. So a lot of parts here in Bruges, water is flowing underneath the houses and underneath the roads.